Hey guys, welcome to part 2 architecture design tutorial. So from the first part of the video, we picked a post-apocalyptic based building as our design subject. And then we also utilize an eggshell as our form language. And then we generate 6 different designs based on the setting. We also spend a little bit more time on these 3 designs just for the preparation for the color painting process. And in this particular video, I'm going to pick the middle one and then share with you guys how do I use photo and some useful Photoshop tools to finalize your design. So let's move on. So before we move on to the actual design, I want to spend some time to show you guys some useful Photoshop tool. And then before we do that, first I need to create a very simple drawing in order for me to do the demo. So let's pick a brush. And I'm going to just do some like very simple structure. Nothing fancy, just, you know, for the sake of showing you guys how do I use those tools. So I'll just do a random structure. With just, you know, pure silhouette. Some like very primitive forms. Maybe there could be some of the plants on the back. Maybe some secondary details. Just a very simple building with some kind of water tower structure on the top. And I want to make sure all these shapes just a opaque value with no much translucency. So that way we can easily, using clipping mask, when we apply the photo, super simple. Alright, I think that's enough. So you can either just doing like Pt2 value tone. So imagine the lighting coming from this way. So right now I'm just doing two-tone shading. Maybe put a door here. So I don't worry about the detail because later on we will use photo for us to generate details. I think this is good for now. Alright, so make sure everything, or just copy a couple times, make sure everything is in opaque value, meaning no translucency or transparent on the shapes. And the next thing I would do is, pick a very simple base color palette. For this one, I think I will pick this area which has a nice gray tone, and I'm gonna just clip using the first tool, very useful tool, which is called clipping mask. So how do you use clipping mask? So when you select whatever image you have and make sure this image is above the image you want to clip in, and then you just move your cursor to the top image and then press press Alt in between these two layers, and then click your left mouse button, and it's click into these shapes. So when I move these shapes, like everything just reveal within these shapes, it doesn't go out like before like that. So that way we can easily apply this photo texture into our shapes. Again, like what I just did here is I copy again these shapes, and I can clip again so I can move around. So I want to make sure all the shapes is covered with this texture as my base tone for the building, and I can merge all of them, and then I will put all this in multiply layer, and see right now not only you have the texture from this photo, but also we get the two-tone, like some shadow information on the overall image. And then since this base shape, the light area is like a light gray, but I want the light gray to be white, I will just go to level and then increase my lightest to be lighter to be white. So that way the photo texture in multiply layer mode. It's reveal the true color from our original photo texture. I can even lighter this up to make sure the light part doesn't go too dark. And that's clipping mask in multiply layer mode, which is, you can see in here, this is multiply layer, which is a great way to keep whatever information on the bottom you have, but also, you know, have the photo texture on top. And then the next thing I want to show you is the transform tool. I think this is very basic, but in order to use it efficiently, there are some small tricks. So let me grab this nice flat texture as an example. Again, like I copy, paste, and then I will clip into this shape again to make sure the form is within the area. And then transform is Ctrl T as hotkey. And then of course everyone can do like scale up, scale down, but when you, something I use a lot is when you click Control and it moves the thing, you can distort the photo into the any shapes, any kind of direction you want, which is very useful. So I can use this photo texture to give me more information on this area, but maybe in here, see right now it's too light, so maybe I could do using darken to add texture information right here, which is I want to give some darken, means I can reveal everything that's darker than the bottom image. And in this case, see, when I using the darken layer mode, I just reveal this grid texture, which is what I want here. And then if you feel this is too dark, you can always go back to level and then tone down the darkest to make it less reveal. Let me fix this. So right now I'm using another tool. It's called smudging tool. Smudge, meaning you can go to here, smudge tool, and I've select one of my tools which you can pull whatever shapes. Let me show you guys. Like, use my smudge tool, I can do this. See, I can pull the shapes into any direction I want. And then what I'm doing here is, you know, like, since this photo texture has some like unwanted color information, we don't want it, I just pull using smudge tool to manipulate the texture. If you would, we don't want that texture, we just pull it away. Something like that. Right, so I want to also show you guys mixer brush. Super useful tools. So what's mixer brush? So when you go to your brush, you click, and then the fourth one is the mixer brush tool. So what's mixer brush tool is when you pick a nice texture brush, and then let me create another layer, clip into the shape, so I can sample my photo. For example, if I click Alt to sample this area, and then when I paint, I can have this photo color information you see here. And if I pick here, I can do this. See, like it got a nice, very traditional painterly feel, which is great to give it some noise, because every time you incorporate photo usually is very busy and have a lot of photo texture on it. So using mixer brush to paint over the photo is very useful. So I can also, for example, I want this blue tints, can sample here and got nice bluish noise. So for my painting, here's what I can do. I want to make this water tower things. Maybe I can make it red, right? So when I look at my photo reference, I found this color would be a nice color palette for my water tower. So I would just use my mixer brush. I could sample this area and I can just paint on top of it, and just got a nice reddish color. And I can pick the lighter area for my light part. And that's mixer brush. You can also pick maybe this area, just make my building has a bluish tone, something like that. Maybe this is not a good choice of color. So maybe on the front door, I would just simply just pick this area as my front side. Again, clipping mask. So I can always paint over it using, again, mixer brush to make sure all the information we want is correct. Maybe the door could be here. See, when I'm using mix brush, pick and paint, it got this nice painterly texture. Looks very natural combining with photo. Can use this gray tone. See, at my ground area, I can just pick, maybe I want my ground area to be this, just simple that, just paint. And maybe for my foliage, I can just pick here, right? And sample it using my mixer brush to have some sort of greenish tone. Even here. So I know this is on the light side, so maybe I could pick this grass under the sun. See, like I can just do this. Maybe make it more yellowish. Use playing in some of the yellow and sample it again, and then mix together. This could be some sort of fence. Right now I just go back to my base shape, trying to readjust the form to make sure the silhouette is correct. Alright, what's next? I can also thicken this area. Okay, so the other thing we can do is, you know, lighten. There's another cool tool called lighten. Meaning, like, for example, maybe I want my door frame to be yellow, so I can see here is some cool yellow color I can use. Just copy, go to my layer, paste clip in. I can transform, click Control, I can manipulate my photo in the right place. And then right now here, I want to show you guys layer mask. So what is layer mask? Layer mask is right here. You click this one. When you click, you can see next to your layer there is a white canvas, and then you can select in between your layer and then the white canvas or whatever that's connect to it. So what this layer mask does is when it's white, it means reveal. Like everything you see is reveal. But if I inverse it, you know, I just press Ctrl I to reverse to be black, meaning it's hide. So everything you see the yellow texture I put here, it's disappear, but it's not actually disappear. It's just hidden in this layer mask. So how do we reveal it? So we can only just pick any brush and then select color white, and then when we paint on top of this black canvas, we can reveal what's under. See? So what's useful about that is, so right now I just want my frame, the edge, apply this color so I can just reveal the area I want my yellow to be. See? And then if I pick black, I can hide again. White, I can reveal again. So the good thing about this, you can still keep your photo underneath without losing anything, because if you erase your photo, it's gone. It's not gonna come back. So but if you use layer mask, reveal and hide, you can very flexibility, you can make it come back again. And that's how I will use it. So let me make make sure this yellow looks right. Maybe there's some like drop shadow of the frame. Maybe we need a door, so let's see, look for like doors we can use. Maybe we can use a wooden door. I can see some cool information here that could use as a door. So when you use photo, lots of time you just look at your photo and then try to find stuff you can use. I just use the door in here. Okay, using my transform tool. Use level to make it brighter. Maybe it's too saturated. I can use shoot and saturation to desaturate. Bring the yellow back. And that's my door. What else? Also, okay, so using level to light. I already did it for a couple of times. Show you guys again. So if I want to light this area, I can select, go to level to light. That's pretty simple. I can also select this area I wanna copy and clip back. Fill in this area. Maybe I want to reveal this area. Not reveal, but make it open. And then what else? Layer blend mode. Oh, okay. This is the interesting one. So what's layer blend mode? I can do is, so for example, if I pick this area and I want to make my roof to have this like broken edge, so I can use, first I need to place this in position using transform tool. Just desaturate a little bit. And then layer blend mode. So when you go to your shape, you go to your layer, you double click your layer. Here is the layer blend mode. So you can play around with the blend mode and see, you can reveal and hide the information you don't want or you want, you know. I would just play around with it. You can shift this bar and then you can click your Alt key. You can separate these two. And then when I do this bar, see, when I push without pressing Alt, it reveals the bottom information. But when I press Alt to make it separate, it has a nicer transition. Instead of just using this, you got this hard edge. But if you separate this and maybe combining, moving away like this, you can have a nicer blend in. So this is useful when you need the bottom shape, the below shape information, but you also need to apply the texture, and this is a good way to do it. also play around with it. You know, I can make the lighter part dark, playing in more. I think right now it's pretty good for now. I can go to my color balance. I want to change the color of this. I don't like this red anymore, so I will find another information. Maybe I can use this area to be my water tower. Transform, and then clipping mask. I already got my shadow and transition. Make it lighter. Erase the parts I don't want. Use layer blend mode again to reveal the shadow. Probably not. A little bit, just a little bit. I wanna find some information for this sphere from the photo. Maybe just use this cool texture. Past clip. And I can use my healing tool to remove that information I don't want. Right now I could go to the blend mode again, try to bring back the shadow. And right now it's time to pen over it using, again, you can use the regular brush, mixer brush, whatever you want, you know. So right now it's the fun part, because every, you know, the annoying part, like, it's over. Right now you can just pen over everything. Shadow, lighter part. It's my roof. Make into different color. And that's it for the some useful tool. Later on in the video I will use like those tools a lot, so this part will be just for you guys, that you know that, so you don't miss anything, because I would just quickly switching a lot of tools and then it's hard to notice while I'm doing the demo. So this is just for you guys to know like the tool I will be using. And here I'm gonna speed up the video, because really like the process is all the same. It's just, you know, the matter of time, just pen over it, using more photo if you need it. trying to just take whatever is there and then color pick it. And then really just render with the light direction we have been set. I think this is also a good way to practice, starting with super simple form and shapes and just really focus on lighting, color, and texture without worrying too much about the actual design. And that's a good way to practicing photo basing technique, you know. Because it would be much harder if the design is too complex. And with simple form and shapes, you can really just focus on how do I make this boring box looks good, you know, by just using good color, good lighting, good texture. And again, like, don't exceed to, like, I would say 3 is the maximum layer you should keep. You shouldn't keep too many layers. Because we don't rely on everything from photo to give you information. The photo is just, you know, a reference, a base for you to start painting. I think that's pretty much it for this little demo, and next we'll be just moving on to the actual design painting. So for this one, I have to spend about 25 more minutes to just straight pen over without using photo anymore, but you get quite a good result like in a short time, like starting with photo and using some photo as a base to generate like some color we can pick from, and then we just went ahead straight pen over. And then you also got like some nice photo texture and also some like painting strokes. Overall feels like a good balance of, you know, hand pen and photo, not much photo, and then good amount of details preserved. So I think this technique is, for me, it's very useful. If you guys struggle with color and, you know, texture, this would be a good way to go. So next one, let's move on to the actual design painting. Alright, so let's get started on this one. So first thing I would do is to pick my shadow color from the photo. So I picked this dark blue mixed with some dark brown color. And right now I'm using the layer blend mode to find the setting that's just reveal the darker part. Again, right now I'm doing like reveal the lighter part. I mean, no, so still reveal the darker part, but give it some warmer tone to the shadow. And then right now I'm using other texture on the light side, and then still using the layer blend mode to reveal the lighter part. And I use level to brighten the photo. Using transform tool to place the photo in the right place. Again, getting another piece of photo and try to reveal the lighter part for the lights area. So you can see like on the photo texture there are some ugly, like low res texture. I don't care about that in this stage because right now I'm just trying to figure out the over color palette of this design. But one thing I know is for these buildings, the eggshell area, the light shell area is gonna be brighter color, almost like toward the whites, but with some like bluish tint. This time trying to find a little bit higher res photo with slightly different lighting situation and trying to find like different area of the place. And right now I'm merging everything. I don't care about much layer because you don't want to keep too much layer on this stage. And you can see me like keep showing the previous rough sketch and trying to pen over on my color version and trying to match the original design. Because when you put a photo texture, there are gonna be some like unnecessary detail or noise. Right now I'm just trying to clean up the light area. And again, right now I'm just painting in one layer. And that's also the reason why I keep my initial sketch loose, because I know a lot of things are gonna be changed. So if the initial sketch is too detailed, it's gonna be harder for you to decide like what to leave and then what to change. Because I know a lot of the detail relies on photo, and the initial sketch is just a plan for you to get the overall idea. And I'm doing like some kind of swamp water, greenish swamp water, and I use transform tool to distort it and make it feel like it's in perspective. And the second image I grab here is trying to give it some like reflection, the water reflection. I'm trying to use the layer blend mode to reveal just the reflection part. Using the transform tool again to make it into this perspective. So I'm grabbing another piece, again combined with layer blend mode to reveal the reflection quality I want. So right now I'm grabbing another piece and trying to give this rounded dome shape roof have some other color texture. And I'm grabbing this rusty, more warmer tone for the pathway, the stilt construction like pathway. Using hue and saturation setting to desaturate the tone. And this one I'm grabbing the wood beams, trying to give it some like other material for the bottom stilt construction. And don't worry about if the image is, still ugly, because later on, when we pen over it, it's gonna be much better. Because right now we are just trying to lay down all the information we wanted, all the color palette we wanted. So later on we can just color pick and then pen over it. But you can see right now already you got the overall feel of the color combination and some rusty paint texture. And on this one, I'm grabbing some kind of negative space and then using layer blend mode to hide the lighter part because I just want to use the darker part, revealing that negative space for the doorway. Erase the areas that I don't want it. Use hue and saturation, trying to find a better color. And I just merge it and pen over it. Grabbing another piece. Trying to give this background buildings some texture and color information. And make sure every time when you grab a photo, when you place it, make sure it's in the right perspective. You know, it should be like wrapping around the form, because right now you see the back building is like a sphere, like a curve form. So make sure that photo you grab and using transform tool to place in the right perspective. And again, like grabbing this another photo for the construction framing area, because remember the FormLanguage you are using is an eggshell, and then within the eggshell there are gonna be cracked with some like negative space. That's our like major visual aesthetic. So the overall building you can see on the rooftop has a more larger shell area, but along with that negative space with a hollow area around the doorway. Just continue grabbing more photo to, you know, lay down everything in the beginning. And you can see, and you can tell that the video I have speed up about like 3 times, because you know the overall process is just, it's quite boring if you watch it, because really like the process right now is just trying to find a right photo, right piece, and then place on top of your original design, and then pen over it. So for the overall color combination, I wanna have a like gray area of white color with some blue tint. But you can see like toward the bottom, toward the below area would be a warmer, rusty, iron kind of color. Because you don't want everything to be just one tone, otherwise it will feel boring. And it makes sense too, because you know the building toward the bottom is close to the water. Some places are touching the water even, so when the metal get close to water, it's easy for the metal to get rusty. So it makes sense the bottom area should be like warmer, rusty tone. Currently like trying to put some recognizable scale, a boat, an abandoned car. Because if everything is too abstract, it's hard for people to relate the overall building scale. Like you wouldn't know how big it is. But when you put something that's familiar, so when people see it, they will know, oh, okay, this is how big the building is. Trying to grab another photo to give this balcony area more detail, some information. Also, the top area, I erased my original sketch because it was too rough. Sometimes it's easier to just simplify everything in the beginning and just add details that's just enough. Some kind of a like communication pole. Again, right now I'm merging everything, and then grab a piece, put in the right place, merge everything, and pen over. Cut the photo, transform it in the right place, adjust the color or value, and then pen over. Still jumping back to reveal the original image to check that if my current painting is in the right place. Because a lot of time when you put too many like photo texture and noise, you are gonna get lost if you don't go back to check your original design. That's why the initial ideation sketch is so important, because you don't want to use photo before you have a solid plan, because it's always easy to get lost by using a lot of photo. Because photo give you too many information, and then it's hard to focus like on what's the stuff you need. A lot of time when I use photo, I would just get lost because photos got a lot of like cool detail, but you are just gonna get lost in the detail, and then if you don't have a solid plan, everything would become a mess. You know, just keep pen over. I think everything is in the right place now. I got enough like color and texture information, so right now I'm just pen over everything, refine everything, make sure the lighting is right. And always keep checking what's the original idea we want to convey, because we're incorporating eggshell as our phone language. So I really wanted to push, you know, the roof cover elements that really feel like eggshell, but it's actually made of metal parts with white paint. And it has some kind of rusty texture, since like this parts has been used for a while. And then remember, our setting is in a post-apocalyptic world, so nothing is new, everything is old, especially like in this like water, like wet area. Like metal is easy to get rusty. Just keep adding more detail. And if you are first time using photo-based technique, please don't keep too many layers, because keeping too many layers, it's gonna drag you super slow, and you don't want that. Because you can see right now I'm still keeping just one layer. The only two layers I have is the background, you know, that darker gray background, and the second layer will be this main building and the water. Trying to add some interesting like support. And the overall finishing quality, I want to keep it like paintery with some like photo texture, so I wouldn't zoom in and refine everything in super detail, because it loses the it's gonna, if you refine everything too detail, it's gonna get stiff. Because sometimes it's better just let the photo texture and the painting stroke to show the overall painterly feel. Sometimes it's a nice way to represent, your own style. Trying to put a sign. I think it's get too noisy, so I just want to keep it simple. Just keep pen over and the refining. At this stage, it's just, you can chill. You can watch movie and, listen to music, just chill and then enjoy, like, pen over all the stuff. Because again, the most stressful, the design part is pretty much done. So right now, it's just make a pretty picture. Give it a nice lighting. Make sure the overall form and perspective is in the right place. And you can see me like zoom in, zoom out all the time because I want to check. When I zoom in, I refine the detail. When I zoom out, I just want to make sure the stroke I made is efficient, because you don't want to zoom in too close and then have spent too long on just tiny area, but when you zoom out you don't see anything change, and that's not good, because just work on the parts that's necessary. You don't need to overwork on every detail. So the lighting choice for this one is kind of from top 45 angle from the right, but it's more of a overcast lighting with soft shadow. There's no direct sharp shadow, and this is the best way to showcase the overall design. Because if the shadow and lighting is too harsh, sometimes it's hard to focus on the design. So the last thing here you see is I grab another photo for the water, a nicer, higher res photo, because I like the warmer tone of this yellowish color, and I'm using again the layer blend mode to find the right feel for the overall color quality. I want to give it some kind of like yellowish, gluey texture, gradates from the bottom. Feels like something is growing on the water and gradually growing toward the building as well. I think this is pretty much it for the entire process. you always spend a long time to just paint over it, make everything nice. But very quickly we can use photo to generate the color, the tone, the texture we want. So that's it for this part 2 architecture color painting tutorial. On the first part, we went through some useful Photoshop tool, and we also incorporate some of the photo to help us quickly generate color and texture on our painting. Based on this design sketch from the part 1 video, we take it further, utilizing photo, and we finalize it in color. The middle one is the one you see in this tutorial. The first one and the third one is also included in this tutorial with no audio. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you next time.